Yes, we'll call this meeting of the City of Erie Environmental Advisory Council to order. And I will call the roll. John Campbell?
Here.
Mike Campbell? Okay, and Robert Howden?
Here.
Aaron is walking in the door. He's going through the metal detector, so come back to him.
Okay, Sister Pat? Here. Sherry?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
And me. Okay, and yeah, I can check them off anyway. So we're not on Zoom, right? We're just,
We are, we're live streaming.
so, but I mean, the Zoom link wasn't published. No, oh, wait,
Yes, it's published, it's published.
Okay.
We're recording right here. Like, it's live streaming on YouTube.
Okay.
okay, we're not on Zoom though.
No, there's no one speaking.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get. Okay, so
Do we call for public comment?
I will call for public comment. I only see the mayor and the lawyer here. Okay.
No comment?
No comments.
Typical lawyer.
So then we have approval of the January 2024 minutes. Can I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Should we fight over it? I'll second it.
Okay. And so are you Bob or Robert? or-
Bob, I prefer,
Bob.
yes.
Okay, so Bob Houghton is the second. And all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, now I'm gonna interrupt right away. I'm keeping minutes here. Do I have to keep track of who makes motions and seconds
Okay,
and so
so
on?
Sam made the motion and Bob Houghton.
No,
seconded.
Sister Paige,
Oh,
Pat
I'm
made the,
s-
sorry, you're supposed to, yes.
Sorry.
So Sister Pat made the motion and
Okay,
Bob
got it.
second.
Okay. So then,
Oh, any opposed? No opposed, okay. I was just making sure.
okay, so now we move on to new business, the draft bylaws. So we got them, did we get them Monday or Tuesday,
We
Jackie?
got them yesterday.
Yesterday, so, is there anybody who hasn't really had time to look at them? Okay.
Do your homework, Aaron. I see. That's what happens to
No,
professors
well,
once
I
they
think he got it, yeah, I know, you're
teasing him.
You're
I'm teasing him. He knows
Yeah.
that. Sorry.
Well, let's talk about it and see what, but you haven't looked at them at all.
Well, no,
Because I mean, one thing we could do is talk about them
Yeah.
and table a vote until next time. And there may be some possible revisions as well.
fine.
Are you
I trust
comfortable
my-
doing that?
Yes, I trust my colleagues that they have read.
Well, so I have one particular concern. Does anybody?
Why don't we just move through them, and if there's a
Yeah.
point, we can bring it up, and if it's not,
Okey-doke.
there's not a point.
I like that
All
plan.
right, so,
I would apologize for not getting, I told you I'd get them to you by the 14th, and between working on them and drafting them, I apologize for not getting them to you sooner.
could you
So-
blame the lawyer, or is it all your fault?
Excuse me?
Can you blame him, or is it?
No, I'm not gonna do that. It's not his fault. I mean, we work together on them.
I know, I'm just being, all right. So I just want to say, so there's the ordinance which set up the EAC, and there's a state law. And I did actually talk to somebody from We Can Serve today, and she said that just because the state law says shall, doesn't mean that everything in that law means that's, you know, that it's still, the city has some different authority than what the law says.
And Brenda, I don't mean to interrupt you again, but I did want to mention that these bylaws were a combination of several of the bylaws found on the We Can Serve PA website, as well as some additions that we put in. So we crafted it with, examples that are already out there. So
Right.
just to
Yes,
do it.
Yes.
understood, yeah.
Okay. So,
So start at the top, name of the council.
I think that's okay.
I think it's
You-
okay.
Yeah.
You don't have a copy of the ordinance on you, do you?
No, I have it on my phone.
Me too.
Look at one if you'd like.
Okay. So there is one,
So the first thing that I have any comment on is the purpose. Does anybody have anything before that? I
No.
don't doubt. I just wondered, it said that would recommend solutions to environmental issues as identified by the city council and/or the mayor. I thought that it could also be identified by
Community members.
by the public or by the board itself. And I think if you look at Article 8, number 5, it does say that, I believe.
in the bylaws?
I have that marked. Number 5 says the study of issues, that's,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's second last page.
Right,
As
number
the
5.
EAC hears issues from the community regarding the environment, the EAC will determine which issues need to be explored or can be explored. So I'm just wondering if we can make this statement under purpose broader.
Right. And I was talking, as I said, to Carol Grayshaw, and she and I kind of agreed that we are also members of the public, so we can,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So that, okay,
So as identified by city council and/or the mayor and/or the general public, including members
Yeah.
of the
do we need all
EAC.
those and/ors?
I don't know. Lawyer, do we need all those and/ors?
I think, if I may say, the reason that that it was drafted that way and we specifically referenced the ordinance number is that by incorporation, we're talking about you guys as a board, the public, and we specifically just pointed out city council and the mayor, because they can bring issues that are directly, on the table or that they learn about, maybe even from the public. So it's just kind of a way of referencing everybody by just referencing the ordinance.
But I
We
think
don't-
I would feel better if the public was in there just down the road. I mean, I know it's later in the,
That's up to you. I mean, these are bylaws. These are your internal operating procedures. So like the public, the ordinance, like if someone was going to look up the ordinance, they would see the public, they would see the board, they would see city council, they would see the mayor. Now, if you guys want to add or delete language or whatever, you guys have to approve that. But for your own internal purposes, I would say the ordinance kind of tells you that already, but that's just my opinion.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But if the city council and the mayor are explicitly mentioned and they're also in the ordinance, then it seems odd to not explicitly mention the general public, even if it's already in
I'm
the
going to agree to
ordinance.
disagree.
Okay.
It's because to me, it's like they're a horse apiece.
Okay.
Well,
That's
if
how
it's-
I
Well,
look at it.
and so it seems like we feel that it should say
Yeah,
general
we,
public.
yeah, how many, is there anybody who doesn't feel that way?
That's up to you guys, but that's just
So-
the way it was worded
Okay.
that way.
Okay, great.
That's cool.
So
Thank you. Appreciate the perspective.
Yeah.
So
Great,
as identified by the general public, city council and/or the mayor, and/or to carry out the duties as outlined by this, is that how we want to do it?
That sounds good to me.
sure. So I want to mention, I did have a comment, are we moving along to membership?
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns, criticism on the purpose? Seeing none, we can move on.
So I did have an email from Art, who's probably watching us somewhere, and he wondered about associate membership. I looked on the EAC website, and it said that if it says it in the ordinance, that we can do it.
Oh, so Art had referenced Article 148, which allows 7 members to the EAC and then also allows associate members that we can appoint per se for like task forces or groups. And when we talked about forming the EAC, the group of associate members we were especially thinking about would be students. So these people have, they do not have a vote, but they attend the meetings as regular members would, and then they can also work on committees.
Is 148 the state law?
I don't know. what
Okay,
148
because
is.
it's not in our ordinance.
I don't know.
But,
It's not allowed in this under.
but that wasn't like a rule, that was just what I read on, it could have been a guideline. So, I think that's a great idea. Is that something we can, well, these have to go through city council anyway, and the mayor. They have to approve the bylaws, don't they?
No, I think it's just an internal
We don't have to-
document.
Okay.
So it could be, so number C, and then moving the other two down, it could be, so you have the 4 members, you have the 3 members, and then you could say, associate members who have no
Non-voting
vote
associate-
but participate, and participate in other council activities, serve on standing and special committees.
Appointed by
Pardon?
the members.
Yes.
So do you want to say non-voting, for non-voting associate members, put it right up at the top?
Yeah, you could say non-voting, and then you wouldn't have to say.
Yeah. Are we referenced, so did you say it was?
I don't know, Art referenced Act 140.
That's probably the
8,
law.
but
Is
I
that
don't
the
know what
law,
that
or
is.
is that,
I should have got back to him.
I'm pretty slow here getting. Well, Art, if you're out there and you want to text me where you got that from. I know
Act
you're,
2048?
yeah, is that,
Assuming
I don't know
it's
if that's the enabling legislation for the EAC.
It has to be something in.
Or the
in
sunshine
the
law.
EAC stuff, because that's what he references from.
Okay. Well, so we're suggesting the addition of that in our membership.
I think you could just have non-voting members. You know, I mean, 'cause you're also, or those people could also be called volunteers. Probably because they're assisting you with activities.
Well,
maybe
I think-
meetings. So I mean, there's just so it's clear they're non-voting members, because the only voting members are the people right here on the stage.
Act 148 is a state statute from the 1979.
Yeah, I thought it was state.
That's probably the sunshine law or something.
Yeah.
I think associate members carries a little more dignity, if you will, than volunteers.
I don't think it belongs under number 1, though, just because it's like the EAC shall be composed of 7 residents as the lead-in. So I just think it needs to be a separate number as opposed to an ABC under number 1. Does that make sense?
You don't think it belongs under membership?
No, and it does belong under membership,
Okay, yes,
just
that's-
not under number 1.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
After
was
the
thinking
city
under
council may select. the-
There is under Article 8, number 3, there's an item that discusses exactly what we're talking about to some degree anyway, and maybe we need to, I know I said so.
Oh, yeah.
Subcommittees.
Subcommittees can appoint members of the general public to a subcommittee or a special task force.
So I don't know whether that covers what your concerns are, Pat, or not. I mean, it's in there. We have
Where
the
do you
ability.
say?
Article 8,
3.
number 3.
Number 3.
Well, here's
Under
an
duties of the
example. I stopped, but I used to regularly attend the Urban Forest Committee meetings. And sometimes I'd sit down there, and sometimes they let me sit up here. Same thing with the Disability Roundtable, which I regularly participate in. It's really hard to say who's officially a member of that. But if our intent is to welcome participation in the regular meetings, then I see the point. If we're only interested in having people participate in subcommittees, that's all we're gonna get if that's what we do.
No, I think the intent was that people would participate as part of the EAC, but they would not be a voting member. And the particular interest was students when we were talking about it, the group that was talking about forming the EAC and putting it together.
So do we want, so would they sit with us up at the table if they're, well, if they're
Yes.
officially a member, a non-voting member, they would, we'd make room.
So I would prefer to see them under membership, and I think the other article allows them for other task forces and things, but I don't know how the rest of you feel.
Then they would also have some obligation as to attendance.
Exactly.
I like the distinction between task force, committee, and associate.
Just had a quick, just kind of question, because you guys are members by via appointment. If you're gonna have some other membership, how are you gonna keep track of that? Is there gonna be like a page one form that they sign, they print off and sign and say why they're interested or how they're qualified, or is there an acceptance process, or is it just someone who comes to a meeting? There might be just, I mean, if you wanna have a,
They would have to be somebody that would be identified
I'm just
by
saying.
the EAC
Yeah,
members
just something
as an
something for you guys
associate
to determine. This might be like.
We'll have a membership committee.
Yeah, there may be like here, there you go. There may be some administrative stuff you want to think about, and then just kind of have a simple process to get people involved.
Yeah,
It's
good
just a
point.
thought.
I
So if
think,
it's colleges, published to Gannon or Mercyhurst or whatever, and then, or if you want more people, or if it's just a particular expert.
and the community college and
Yeah.
the schools.
That's what I'm saying, but you may want to have that way you have like a muster roll of people that you can, if you say, hey, I have a subcommittee on whatever the issue is, and I'm like, oh, these 4 people I think would be really good for that, and you can say, okay, well, they're already members,
I think that this reflects that there's a lot of interest amongst us in growing the next generation of people.
Yeah, that's
who
what
are
it's really leaning on.
fostering them, because they're ready. Okay, so we would like to suggest the addition of an insertion maybe after or before number 2. So,
Why don't you add it as a letter E under number 1?
Okay, you could put it there. You could make
I
it,
don't think it belongs under number one. I said that a minute ago, just because
You don't-
the number one is talking about the 7 residents of the city of Erie, and the members should be appointed according to. So I think it's talking about the
So I think it should be a separate.
I think it should be a
separate
number as opposed to a letter.
okay, so like a number 2 or,
Like
Number 2, number 3, I don't think it matters from there where exactly we want to put it.
yeah, and maybe at the end, maybe a number,
Just
what's the last one?
7 is the
add
last
number
one.
8.
So, yeah, add a number 8 about associate members, or is that too far removed? Because you don't want to stick it in between where you're talking about those members and then they're talking about what the council, how the council was selecting them, I don't know.
after number 5? I mean, before number 5?
Oh.
Why don't you make it number 2 and move everything down then?
Yeah,
Here,
that's
if I may make just a quick suggestion, because number 4 is like all about membership of you guys, like if something happens, there needs to be an appointment.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is whether you call them non-voting members or committee members who aren't on your board, maybe I would suggest a new article. Like just a new article
What?
5, a new article, like our memberships under Article 4, we're talking about like non-voting members though.
So Article 5, non-voting
And
members.
maybe call it non-voting members or call it committees, something like that. But it's something, because it's
Yeah,
separate
as
from
long
you
as in
guys.
that we distinguish between associate members and volunteers. I mean, I think we want to make sure that associate members are not seen as anybody that joins a task force. They're people that are called to monthly meet with the EAC.
And they get all our information and
I just think you want a whole other article would probably simplify the
Right,
process,
but-
because the Article 4 is really about you guys specifically.
okay, but they're separate. What we're saying is we don't want them we already have the language about committees. We don't need to put them in with the associate members. The associate members get their own section without.
Well, you can subdivide that article that I'm saying into different sections. One could be associates, one could be whatever.
Yeah, we don't need the whatever, because that's already in here.
Yeah, they're already in there.
Well, you may need to revise the whatever we're talking about specifically.
Yeah,
So,
I see your point.
it's just a suggestion.
And then that way too, would allow us to specify how associate members are chosen and what the requirements are. So if we're gonna have, like, they have to attend meetings, you could have that
That's what I
mentioned
mean,
under
yeah.
that article.
That's what that administrative process I was kind of referencing earlier.
Okay, I can begin to see how this is going. So we are clear on what we want. And I forget your first name, sir. Jason. Should we let Jason kind of work it out and then we get a draft by the middle of the month?
I mean, what do we want in it?
Yeah, I'm writing revisions right now.
Oh, okay.
With the minutes also. I mean,
Okay, I just,
I think it would be helpful though if you might propose your draft language.
Yeah.
And then you send it to me and I can look at it with Jason. So like for I mean, obviously for the one about the purpose, I can do that, right? But this Article 5, I think you should propose it and then send it to me.
who wants to do that? Pat? Is that, do you want to put that together or maybe Art can help you?
Sure, but I'm not sure what to do about the other members, because I don't see
Is
that.
it under Article 8?
Number 3.
They're not members, they're subcommittee. Hmm.
Subcommittees and special tasks.
See, I'm not so, I don't know that that should be pulled out of there.
Well,
No, it
I
wouldn't
think you
be
could have
pulled
it,
out.
I think you could have it in two different places. Because what you're saying here is duties of the environmental council
Exactly.
together. But then when you have that Article 5 I was talking about, you can say that for the subcommittees, special task forces could be made up of, they can join those. That could be part of their powers or whatever.
But somebody from the public who is not already an associate member could also be on the subcommittee.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. I think that's where you would delineate who could be on a task force or something.
Did you have a comment?
No, I agree.
Okay,
I think you would leave it in both places though.
so when would you like us to submit comments if they're not done?
I can do something on associate members, and if you don't like it, that's, but I don't think I'll put other people in it, or,
I think you should send it out to all of us
Okay.
for feedback.
Okay, all right. Anything else under membership? I guess I wondered about so this is 2 meetings irrespective of whether you're prior excused?
unexcused. If you're
Oh,
not,
it doesn't say that.
yeah, it says something about that.
Something.
Any
Yeah, it
member who's
does.
absent from any 2.
Without
oh.
reasonable cause, without reasonable.
No, it says 3 without reasonable cause. It says just any 2 consecutive. And any 3 regular within a 12-month period without cause.
But I think reasonable cause refers back up to 2 as well.
Is that the intention, Jason? Okay, all right.
The goal is not to kick people off for, so it should be interpreted as probable cause. I mean, we could probably throw a prepositional phrase or something in there that clarifies.
It's a little,
Going to Ireland definitely is,
I don't know, it's kind of a shaky excuse.
Yes, Mike's
not-
gonna be gone for the next
Can't
couple
do
of months
anything
in
about it
Ireland.
now.
Okay, any more comments under Article 4?
So what did we decide? Without
That-
reasonable cause applies to
Yeah,
both of
to
them?
make it clear that any 2 consecutive meetings without cause, or, without prior notification or something.
Yeah, just trying to have a really good reason. I think the goal
Right.
is I want you guys to show up on your schedule, not that many
Yeah.
meetings, and these are important issues.
Right, but sometimes you have somebody dies, you're in the hospital, or something. Right, but you don't.
But
know-
I was just asking for clarification. So without reasonable cause applies to both.
That's the
Yeah.
way I would
Right.
interpret
Yes.
it.
I think we
Okay.
always clarify that Ireland is not an excuse.
That's
Right.
very important. We should specifically mention,
I will say the acoustics in here make it very hard for me to hear, especially when you're over there. But,
Yeah,
okay, are we done? Any other questions on membership? Okay, officers.
Wait,
So does this, is this meeting, I know they're in, is it the city's website or the county's website that's
city.
city? Under some, no, I know, but one of them's being worked on. But sometimes you see, if you go to the website, it'll say, hey, this meeting's coming up. Or if you're on Facebook, it says this meeting's coming up. I didn't notice anything.
Excuse me for just one moment. In terms of your volunteers, just to go back to that for one moment. and
Can you speak
non-voting-
just a little
I'm
louder?
sorry, in terms of your non-voting members, your subcommittees, your task force, are you gonna require them to be all city residents?
It should be.
Oh, they should be, right?
Yes.
So that should be stated in this Article 5
That's what
as
you
well. Okay,
Right.
okay.
If that's what you want, then put it in there so you guys can discuss it. and we can just-
Yeah, just be sure it says city of
I
Erie.
think it should be.
Yeah, it needs to be city.
But, I mean,
Yeah.
we want to encourage like students who, like, if there's a college student who like goes to Gannon, but he or she or,
Well, if they're going to college locally,
no, what if they residents like.
yeah, they don't have to be a,
You may want to make, like, if they're helping to do a project, maybe the city.
Well, maybe if they're going to school here and they're registered to vote here.
Well, what about a local business person who owns a business in Erie but doesn't live in the city?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, it is.
Would they fall under volunteers?
City of Erie ties.
Yeah. What if there's a couple high school kids from Girard that really want to help on something?
Well, they live in Girard and they should work with it in Girard. See, there are people, some boards and authorities are specific as to who can be a member, and others are loose, like the Disability Roundtable. There are some non-residents who are members.
How about residents, goes to school in Erie or owns a business?
So
Can we-
if
can
you
that
go
be
to
a
school in
clarifier?
Erie and you live in Meadville, you get to be on,
If you go to one of the city
If you go
universities.
if you go to one of the, if you go to Mercyhurst or
community college.
community college,
Community college is not in the city.
Yes, it is. Oh, some of it is.
the one
No,
at
that's true,
Ben's,
some of it, the main camp, I was thinking the main campus out in Villa, that's not in the city.
yeah, Villa would be milk.
I think this question is really important because it's the city's
Or should we just say City of
environmental
Erie and
action council.
the
right?
student will have to
Advisory
live in the
council.
city?
Yes, it's the cities, and I
And
think
the
they should,
city
I think,
residents are, you know, of course, ecology is broad and, but we're trying to address city, urban.
I think there should be some tied to the city.
Well,
I wouldn't, I guess I wouldn't eliminate someone who owns a business in the city, but maybe lives in Fairview. I mean, I don't know, that's, because they still have a stake in the environment of the city if they own a business in the city.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is just making me question the whole purpose of the associate members. Why can't just, I mean, people can come to the meetings and they can talk. So what's the purpose of an associate member?
wait, are we in associate members or members, period?
We're
No,
members.
We're
We are
members.
members.
You guys are the members, like, so it's in the bylaws, you guys have to be from the city of
We
Erie.
have to
Yeah,
be
we have to
So
residents
be
of
in
the
the
city.
city.
you just need to decide about associate members or subcommittee people or people from the public. I don't,
Yes,
my
I just don't
question is how
understand what the
much do you want to
point of
limit it if you really are trying to
Well,
get something off the ground, that's all.
Pat's original intention is the best one. It's students who are gonna need to understand environmental leadership in the future, right?
So
And
why
so
don't they
then the
just come to
committees-
meetings?
Huh?
So why don't they just come to meetings?
Because you don't have that much, that you don't have that kind of a stake. Where if you're an associate member
Gotta
and
sit down.
required and able to interact with the members of the council,
Sort of a mentoring kind of thing.
It is. The comment I want to make about business owners who don't live in the city, they have the chamber, they have the downtown partnership, they have all kinds of stuff. opportunities to get their voices heard, and I'm not worried about it, as business owners.
But I can see if, now moving away from the associate members, but talking about these committees, you might have somebody that has great expertise for an issue that you're looking at, but they don't happen to live in the city. So I'm not sure that you have to have just city people for that particular, you know, if
Okay.
you're asking somebody to join a task force.
So that's coming ahead in section 8, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but as we're
Yeah,
talking about.
I was gonna say though, somebody doesn't live in the city, they could volunteer their services, they just wouldn't serve as an associate member.
Exactly.
Okay,
Okay,
so I think we're kind of confusing associate member as a broad term that covers a large group without actually having a definition of what associate member is.
Because
okay.
Pat hasn't given this to us yet.
Right?
So we were actually working, so we're done with the members and we were working on the officers, or we?
Okay, yeah, we're moving
Okay,
to
so
officers. Members
we-
might come up again.
All right, so
As we get further
I
into
hear
this.
that we're in agreement on associate members having to live in the city. Okay, now, moving on to officers.
I didn't have anything there.
So just that, I mean, since you put yourself, the staff lead in there, just again, that hopefully, that means that there will be something, you know, in the city's website and social media, alerting people that the meeting's coming up. 'Cause,
Yes, this was posted online,
okay,
so it's already posted, and all of our meetings are posted online already.
okay, you know, you don't always find the same place twice in line.
Now, if you wanted a landing page for, let's say, for the committee, we could do that.
That'd be great,
Where we start, you know, maybe putting out information, that's something that we could work on.
yeah.
You just need to give me the content of what it is that you would like to have on there.
Well, yeah. We could start with the ordinance and when we have them.
That's on there.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
like
so
it's not on a landing page, but it's under the boards, commissions, and councils
Right.
on the city's website. The members, your appointments, your expiration, the ordinance is all on there.
Okay, so are there any other questions about officers? How about code of ethics?
I have what might be a typo, I'm not sure. C, shall prohibit from holding, is that something missing there, or is it just my bad reading?
Oh, it's funky language, I noticed that too. It felt awkward.
It's just awkward, I'm not quite sure how to fix it.
It should start with just prohibited, but I assumed it was some legalese. But it started
Or
with
shall be prohibited, I don't know.
I'm curious, where is
It's
the
like is
source?
prohibited, right? It just instead it shall
Yeah.
prohibited. It's awkward language, but
Yeah, it doesn't read. Shall not, how about just shall not? Shall not hold financial interest.
It seems to work.
Because that's what it says up above, it says shall not. So, Jason or Jackie, it's still okay to say Jackie, right? Yeah. What is the source of items A through K? Is this actually part of an EAC, or did you take it from somewhere else?
It was taken from somewhere else that was a municipal authority, and then we tried to adapt it.
Okay, so, but we are not actually a municipal authority, is that correct?
So it's something, I was looking for something that was directed towards the government.
Right, so I think it's beyond robust, in my opinion. It's a little bit, I think some of it's, I object to the wording of E. I think that,
I was just saying, I have no qualm with whatever discussion or whatever modification.
okay,
In my mind, the code of ethics kind of is like, look all of us could probably define code of ethics slightly differently, but really have the same interpretation.
Right,
Right? So whatever you feel inside, so this is, I
right.
think it's important, but it's something we can discuss.
Because the authorities, the authorities that the city has, they're independent once they're established to a certain degree. They're autonomous. We are not an autonomous entity. So, we don't have the powers that the autonomous authorities have.
I mean, I think it's an agree to disagree, so yes or no, but I think you could, you could have one policy that hopefully would apply to everyone, or you can say, let's shrink it down so that it's down to like, 3-4 paragraphs.
Okay, I objected to E. I think it's kind of, it's worded I'm not, this on and off duty hours, and, I just think it's a bit much.
Okay, well, this is something we'll work on, because the reason we're going through this is to discuss this, we're not passing anything today, just to get ready to submit it, so that's why I move on E, and then mark down C.
Because, I still, as long as I make it quite clear that when I speak in public, speaking for myself, I still will do that. Probably not necessarily on issues related to what we're doing, but I don't dress like an executive in my off-duty hours, behave as I behave.
But in the training, it was very clearly told to you all that you needed to be mindful that if you're going to sit on this board, that you would also be reflective of that in the public. Even if you weren't necessarily, if you were an advocate, let's say, I think she used the word advocate. So this code of conduct, code of ethics, while we did find that it is in some of the bylaws that is found on the We Can Serve PA website, we felt that it was, we just put more in there based upon some of those comments that were made in the training. I don't think they're going to be relevant. So, I think that's where that one came out of a little bit more.
But it makes
I think the main thing with any code of ethics, honestly, is that, again, it's not trying to pigeonhole all of you guys, but also be mindful that if you post something online or if you say something in public, you are still appointed by the mayor or city council. Do you know what I mean? So they're all kind of interconnected in this spider web. So just be careful with what you say and how you phrase it. So you can still be an advocate for, like you do a lot of sidewalk stuff. So that's important. But at the same time, if you're doing sidewalk stuff, just make sure that you are not, saying that, I don't know, something off the wall. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Just be mindful. It's kind of like what everyone should be doing, but.
I still object to the tone of the wording, to say professional manner, both on and off duty.
Well, I
if
think
we took-
professional manner is a very important piece of what we need, how we need to act.
Right, but when
That's so
you're,
hard,
when you're
though.
just pat, when you're just
You won't
pat
tell
and
them
you're
all our
hanging
secrets.
out, are you being professional or you
Pardon
just, when you're just pat and you're hanging out, are you being professional or are you just being pat?
Well, I hope I'm not being unprofessional, or,
And what's your definition of just hanging out, sitting in your?
I don't know,
living room
I'm
watching TV?
picturing myself at
All
a
right,
protest
well-
over on the square, and
I may be the only one, but I find it, I take offense at that one, frankly. I just think it's a bit heavy-handed and unnecessary.
Kathy, what do you think?
If it,
Not Kathy, Sam. I have to look at Kathy for a minute.
if we just took off, if we just said shall conduct themselves in a professional manner to demonstrate the public's trust, and we took off both on and off duty hours,
Yeah,
would that make you more comfortable?
absolutely.
That's fine. I don't-
Okay,
maybe
that's
we
fine
can
with
insert as much as possible.
Help us out when we go to the bar.
We're gonna ignore Mike.
You never know what's gonna happen at happy hour.
I mean, my wife would be laughing at this.
You telling me, Pat? So we'll just take that off. Shall conduct themselves in a professional manner to demonstrate the public's trust and confidence in their position.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
good
think that's
enough.
fine.
that's fine.
Anything else anybody didn't like in there? Okay.
Everything else was fine.
Gotta watch that library stuff too.
So a special meeting wouldn't count as one of your two consecutive. If you were unable, you didn't show up at a 24-hour notice that you didn't get because you neither read the email nor got the text.
You know, I think the crux is not if you miss 2 consecutive meetings, the crux is, are you missing them without reasonable cause? I mean, you know, I might have to miss 2, but,
And it says regular meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Regular monthly meetings or 3, yeah, so special meetings are not in that.
So often when I was on the Human Relations Advisory Board, didn't have a quorum. And sometimes we would just not conduct business, but meet.
Discuss things.
So it doesn't say anything about that. Hopefully that won't be an issue here.
well, that would be something that we could decide.
Right,
Depending on what we
there's nothing in here that would prevent us from.
Right.
Okay. Duties. So, do we want to move number 5 closer to number 1?
Why don't you let me look at it and think about it, and I'll send the proposal out to you folks, and then you can yay or nay it.
In Article 8?
No,
Pardon?
she's just asking about Article 8,
I'm sorry, where were
moving
you?
number 5
Oh,
up within Article 8.
Under, to make that number 2?
Incorporated in with the other one.
Or are we gonna put that wording back in there that we had from the purpose? No,
I
it's
think we
only
could-
to the mayor and city council, right?
yeah, I think we can leave it there.
Okay.
Just a question, which we mentioned in there, appoint members of the general public. Given some of the past discussions, do we need to define what general public is? I mean, is general public anybody that we feel like it, or are we gonna go back to the general public residents of the city of Erie?
I think in this case, the way that I interpreted that is that would include like business members that have an interest in the city of Erie, but maybe live outside. So
Yeah.
it would not have to be residents of the city.
So so
That's the way I read it.
just for clarification, we're saying, when we talk about the associate members, we're saying associate members have to be a resident of the city.
Yeah.
But if we're doing some type of a special task force or a subcommittee that has a specific goal, we could appoint, if they're not a member of the city and they have a particular expertise, we could appoint that person.
That's how
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
I actually think that whole sentence or part of that sentence should be reevaluated after you guys draft the article dealing with non-voting members.
I'm sorry again, I lost you, where are you?
Oh, no, just what you're talking about, number 3 in section
Number
8.
3 on
There's talk about general public. I think you actually probably will define that better in the proposed changes that you're making for either associate or non-voting
Okay,
member.
but my proposed changes is only going to deal with associate members.
Right.
Well, the,
And
probably
the
wanna-
associate members have to be city residents.
That's what we
that's up
agreed
to you
upon.
guys.
Yeah, that's what we're going to say.
Yeah, that's not
Just-
general public.
Well, then, maybe you want to consider, I think you want to have. if-
That's what my question was, because I know we had the discussion under associate members or members as far as residency are concerned, so what are we doing as far as general public is concerned? That's why I brought it
Yeah,
up.
something to consider.
Yeah, so it's wide open.
Yeah, so you guys are going to be talking essentially about that, like what a member is, what is an associate member, so kind of define that, whether it's students. Just think about that for the next time and
It
submit all that
sounds
to
to me,
Jackie.
it sounds to me like we're talking about 3 specific categories: members, associate members, and others.
Yeah,
Committee members.
Committee members or
Yeah.
special appointees or something
Yeah.
like that for us, special committees or subcommittees or something.
Since the city is within the county,
Mhm.
and there's experts in Erie County, I mean, who care about the city.
Right.
You could say, to your point,
Mhm.
you know, within Erie County,
Well, there's this guy from Germany.
Well, I
who's
suppose
from
general-
Erie who comments a lot on stuff we got going on. He's an expert in pollution and stuff.
oh, I mean,
Yeah, 'cause it says general public, we could technically, I suppose that could mean somebody in California if we
It could
really
be,
wanted to.
you know, if it's an expert that we want, and for some reason they have expertise about this particular issue.
So
They
we're
could be
happy
from
with general
Mars.
public?
Pardon?
So we're
general
happy-
public.
general is anybody.
And we had to have a vote on who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
so
true,
the,
that's
you know,
true.
so there will be a discussion
Yeah,
here
that's
about,
good, yeah.
Yeah, we have to appoint them.
we
so
have to appoint them.
That can be part of the discussion if and when an appointment of that nature comes up.
Yes.
Do we,
But you could, under that, number 3, as if you're defining what an associate.
I'm sorry, I
member-
can't hear you.
As I was just saying, you could make a subsection under 3, this written there under Article 8, and define possibly what your process is for voting a committee member of the general public, if you wanted to be more specific.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be more specific, though. They're gonna be formed by a majority vote of a quorum of the members
Yeah.
at any regular or special meeting.
Yep.
And they may appoint members of the general public to a subcommittee or task force as it deems necessary and appropriate. So I don't think we want to get everything too, just let it flow a
if
little.
we appointed a committee at a special meeting, would you know that that's what the special meeting was gonna do?
yes.
Yes,
It has
okay,
to have
but
a
it would
very
have to be-
specific.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any surprises like some
Forget
places.
who said it, but I do think that a reordering of the numbers under Article 8 would make more sense. Like, number 5 should be number 2, number 4 should be number 3.
That's kind of where I was going before.
It's just that, or, yeah, was it you? I couldn't remember who said
Yeah.
it, but the organization of these 5 bullets is awkward to me.
Okay, so
As we
what do you want
start-
number 2 to be?
So I want 1 to stay 1, 5 to become 2, 4 to become 3, 2 to become 4, and
Okay.
3 to become 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a little more organized.
So we
Okay, so
1 is 1.
1 is 1,
2 is 5.
2 is 4,
We're under Article 8, right?
yep,
Okay, 2 is 4.
3 is 5,
No, you changed it.
No,
4
you
is
just
3.
You
changed.
changed it,
You just changed it,
Sam.
Sam.
I did?
Before you told us 4 was 3 and 5 was 2.
Yeah,
5 is 2, that's what I have.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
have too.
5 is 2,
Okay, so 1 is 1, 5 is 2, right?
yep,
Okay.
4 is 3,
What about 3? 3 is 5?
3 is 2 is 4.
2 is 4.
So it goes from provide objective advice on environmental matters to the study of issues,
Right,
to for each issue, what happens, to we have to submit an annual report, and then the last one is subcommittees and special task forces.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
okay. Order of business.
Did you get that?
I love the look on the mayor's face.
I'm just so glad that you are also recording this, because my head is spinning.
I know it, I could not do what you were doing.
Okay, so not having read Robert's Rules of Orders recently, I have a question on order of business. So like, city council has committee reports at the end, which often people may just give committee reports, or they may talk about something they want to say about something that happened during the meeting. The county council, members of the council have an opportunity to make comments up at the top. So I just wondered if we have an opportunity for members to actually offer information. Is that informally done during new business?
It would be done under old business. Anything that members wanted to bring up about past meetings could be part
About
of.
past
meetings.
And
New
about,
business.
new would be under new
And
business.
then
Okay.
anything new would be under new
Okay,
business.
so it doesn't, all right, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an agenda item, it could just be,
Yeah. It would probably be, I mean, whoever's preparing the agenda would probably have those items listed out,
Under new business.
you know?
okay.
Because just like,
So what
I
is
think
the-
if anybody wanted to have any item on the agenda, we were asked to submit items for the agenda.
So do we want to have a timeline for that?
Yeah, I mean, typically we'll send out the agenda a week before. And then you would comment or make, you know, if you have additions, then you would just add that, just like you did, you had a few other things and I just added it to the agenda.
Okay.
Under new business,
Okay,
yes.
all right,
And how I deal with the other boards is I typically work with the chair, and I think that's in the bylaws too, I would set, we would work on the agenda, and then we would send the agenda out to the,
right, okay.
and then we post the agenda before the meeting. Sister Pat, did you like that?
Pardon, just comes and goes. I have one in my pocket. I think.
Okay, I can get it done if you need.
It's never gonna go away. It's 3 months old and
Okay, so do we have anything else under order of business? Are people happy with, so now we've got the public comment up in the beginning, which is
Yeah.
normal. And it's like, some boards, they go so fast that if you're 5 minutes late, you've missed it, but I think
well, you know,
we're good down here.
yeah, well, you have it there. That's good, I think. Because as you say, it gives people time to come in and it also gives people to see the agenda. So they may want to have a comment on the agenda. So I think it's good that it comes after that.
Right. Okay, right, amendments.
I just have one thing. I wondered why an amendment to the bylaws required only 3 votes of the council instead of a majority.
So the public comment, which today on the agenda, I'm sorry, I'm going back to it for a second.
Oh, okay, I was like, wait.
Yeah, the public comment right now is after roll call, and you're saying you want it after.
The way it's listed here.
It's-
You wanted it, you wanted number E, letter E.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
The comment.
Because that's still going to be within the first 10 minutes of the meeting.
Before the old and new business.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give
And
people
then
a
you,
chance.
I'm sorry, which letter or number are you addressing now?
we're looking at amendments.
Amendments, and I'm wondering
Does
why
it-
the amendment to the bylaws requires only 3 votes instead of a
Bylaws or
majority.
agenda?
Pardon?
Bylaws or
We're on
agenda?
Bylaws.
bylaws. Number
Bylaws,
one.
amendments. I'm on number 10.
Article 10, number 1.
3 votes. Yeah.
I agree, it should be a
Oh, wait,
quorum.
oh, so did it require three votes? Three
It should
three
just say
votes or
quorum.
votes by three members?
3 members.
I thought maybe this could also be interpreted as saying you have to vote on it 3 times.
How I'm reading that is that it requires 3 people to support the amendment.
I know,
And I
but
think it should be
a
4.
quorum.
Yeah,
Well,
it
then
should-
you would vote on it, so if a quorum's here, 3 people support it, but the other 4 shoot it down, then it would kill the amendment.
Right.
I
right.
think that's the reason why it's written that way. So 3 people can propose an amendment, but 4 people can stop, because there's 7 people.
Yeah, but the way it's written here, if 3 votes can pass the amendment,
It should be a quorum.
I think it should be a quorum, the majority.
And then,
I think that's an oversight.
Okay, okay.
Should be the majority of the quorum.
Yes.
So 4 people
Yeah,
show
that
up,
makes sense.
and 3 of you vote on it, that passes. That's
That
the
passes,
majority of
right.
the quorum.
right, and it has to be on the agenda. Okay. Do we have to stop at 4, or can we? No. Okay. All right, so where's the agenda? Okay. So I have, draft conflict of interest policy. I can live with that. Anybody have any concerns about?
Well, wait a minute, so with the bylaws, so we're going to, I'm gonna do something on associate members and send it to all of you, and then we'll send it to you, and you have other changes, little minor ones, and then we'll get that out to everybody so that we can vote on the bylaws for the next meeting.
In March,
Right,
yes.
okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
try to get these to you in a week or so.
conflict of interest policy,
We just signed this.
sign. Okay. All right, so, conference highlights. I actually received from Carolyn Grayshaw, and with permission to share with everybody, the links to all of the sessions, all of the handouts, all of the everything. So, that pretty well covers it, because I have trouble remembering some of what I heard. I will say, so one of the things that I came away with was that lawn conversion projects and similar, but with trees, those are things that could qualify, and it kind of slips into the C2P2 section. Those are things that could qualify for C2P2 grants, which close on April 3rd or 8th. And nonprofits, and even some categories of the grants, and I think this fits into it, could be like, for example, when I think of lawn conversion, I think of those vast lawns of commercial entities on East 10th and East 12th. That maybe some of those places could do lawn conversions, or Lecom up there, between 38th and Grandview, they could do a lawn conversion if they chose to and could qualify for a grant. So that was part of where I was at with that. And I would like to add, so one of the things I heard our esteemed colleague, Dr. Mason, say yesterday was how important source control is. One of the things I have been talking about for years is that it is possible to have a water distribution system at events. And I first experienced it at the Newport Folk Festival. So that if you could walk up with your bottle and you fill it with water, and I think you can buy a bottle. But imagine all the plastic bottles we could save if we had that. It's something that the water authority could own and rent out or bring out. It's something the downtown partnership could own. But, and I don't know if it fits into any of these grants that are up right now, but that's something that I see as a non-controversial thing. It's just finding the entity that wants to manage it and a way to fund it.
I agree. I mean, I think, but I think before we could sit here and spend hours talking
Right.
about this, that, and the other. And I think we need to have a meeting where we sit down and discuss
Priorities.
what are things that, I mean, I think it should start with throwing everything at the wall. What are things that we want to discuss? You do it, divergent, and then you do convergent thinking. So then you start to bring them together and prioritize them. But I think that's a whole separate meeting.
Right.
I'm obviously very much on board with eliminating bottled water at any City of Erie events and working to make that happen. That you know that I'm on board with that. But I think rather than kind of, you've discussed two different
Right.
topics here, and it's just really easy, I think,
Well,
for
one fits in
us.
within the C2P too.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit early for us to be thinking about C2P2 just because we're not organized enough. I applied for C2P2 grants for the Winter Green Gorge, but I have a master plan. And like, I just got a quote for phase 3. Like, there's a lot of effort that has to be put into before you start applying for grants. And I just don't think we're there yet. So I just don't want us to put the cart before the horse.
But it's also possible to let people who may not have been aware know that they could qualify for such a grant.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, so are we at the point at the next meeting that we can talk priorities?
Do we have anything scheduled for the next meeting, or we can kind of work on? Yeah.
I really think we should get right to
Yes.
it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect
I know.
agenda for next item, and
Yeah, I know one process from when I was in the Forest Service we called Mortonizing, because a guy named Steve Morton developed it, where you get the rank, or there's the sticker thing. But so I don't know if we could have an easel or a whiteboard or something for the next meeting, so and
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes.
Are really great
Yeah.
for organizing thoughts.
I have a question, and I thought I had a copy and then I don't. Where is the City of Erie on a climate action plan? Is there anything written? Okay, so there's nothing.
There's nothing.
But isn't there's the L?
It's in movement, right?
Well, that, we talked about that with two
That would be
presenters, Jenny Tompkins and Porter Stevens, that discussed, a
Yes,
little
but
bit
I thought that the city had started on a plan, but
No,
no.
not yet, so we're.
Greenhouse gas audit.
Oh, the greenhouse gas audit, okay.
You know, I was gonna say, there is some priorities that the city has already, and I know that we just worked on a grant, and we needed to know about, it was for new windows emissions, I think it was. I don't, that might not be it, but in any case, there are some priorities and goals that the city does already have in place, and I will share that.
I was gonna say, that's definitely something we should have for the next meeting.
Sarah Keelman is the keeper of all that knowledge, and I will get that from her and send it.
Yeah, and maybe she could come to the next meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she should be at the next meeting. I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, so are we gonna talk about climate action as a separate topic as well as prioritization?
Well, it could be one of the
I
priorities.
think
Right.
that's one of the
Right.
priorities.
But maybe we
so
talk
that's-
about it before we do the prioritization, so we have a little more background. Yeah,
So if we look at,
just up to speed then.
There are several documents that Sarah referenced when she spoke with you all, and she sent out, some links that I think will be a good, I mean, I know you already have the contextual background, but you don't, and so she sent out, I think it was Clean Water, is that, the one document that Sarah worked on, I can't remember, and a lot of
she was working on, you mean the greenhouse gas audit?
No,
I'm sorry.
I'll find it and I'll send it out.
Okay.
again to you.
The stormwater?
No, it
Okay,
was
sorry.
like Clean Water Trail or something like that, but
Oh,
I'll-
crane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
What-
crane thing.
Okay, and you had something?
Yeah, I just think that we ought to be clear that part of our meeting will be to set priorities. We're not just gonna hear from what the city's already doing. 'Cause
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have knowledge of a lot of that already,
Right.
so I just don't want it to be another meeting where we're listening to others, not as important as that is, but we need to start taking steps to prioritize from the advisory council.
Right, but I'm a little, I think, where I just need a little more clarity about where we are with climate action
Yeah.
planning.
I do
Nowhere.
too, yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like nowhere.
yeah, well, but
We
I
had a-
think
It's
that where
moving.
would they,
Also,
We have-
There's pieces, but
what I
nothing
was
has been
trying
put
to
together.
explain was that we have, our kickoff meeting for the P4P grant next week, which is that grant where it's engaging,
the
Tomorrow.
the 10,
sorry, tomorrow.
Oh, dear,
is that the $10,000 grant?
Yes.
That's not gonna go very far.
It's not to create a local climate action plan, but it's the ability to have that piece of it, have the engagement piece, and then go after the bigger implementation money to create the local climate action plan. So it's in the works, and we're gonna use this and be able to engage, those communities in the environmental justice areas, which hasn't been done yet. That there has been an engagement piece that's been done, but not specifically for those in the environmental justice areas. So that piece will be done, at least part of it, and then we'll be able to go out for a larger pot of money to do the LCAP.
So this is a
Almost the
checkpoint
whole
in
city
the process.
varies in the environmental justice area.
So that's,
And then there was this ICLEI thing?
So
ICLEI
that
that
was-
was with
so-
Aaron?
So the city of Erie worked with Penn State main campus. ICLEI is an organization that works with city governments to do LCAT, to create climate action plans. So the intention was to create the climate action plan during this course that students take. But because of holdups in getting data, they were only really able to get the greenhouse gas audit done, which is the first and most important piece. And then from that, you do the community engagement pieces, you start devising what actions, and then you develop your plan. So the kind of the first piece, I think, has been done. I get a little bit confused on whether we have all the data or if we're still waiting for data from First Energy. Yeah, I think we are still waiting on data from First Energy. So, so we have most of the greenhouse gas audit done. But that is something that we could be a part of, but I do also think many cities hire organizations because there's so much involved in developing a climate action plan. I think it would be a really big, this is my personal perspective, big undertaking for this particular council.
Oh,
But I think we should definitely be involved and help to push for, but hiring a consultant would be kind of advised, I think, on that.
Right.
But that is something that could be part of those discussions as to what we should do and what our priorities are. And part of that can also be what realistically can this group do as part of those priorities, I think. So I think we have to be reasonable on what a group of 7.
oh, I didn't think we were gonna write a climate action plan.
I thought you were gonna do it all yourself. I had that. Did y'all not have that? Did y'all not get that?
It's in
memo?
my notes.
That's what I. Freda writes climate action
You
plan.
get what you pay for.
I just want to make sure we have now, Mike is not going to be here next time?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so I will be secretary.
Right, and I won't be here in May.
But our next
And if
meeting
there's
is
anything
March.
that's gonna be
Okay.
voted on, like approving draft bylaws, I'm gonna have internet and email, so I can provide a
Do we have to
vote.
have everybody here to vote?
No, we
No.
just have to have
Oh,
four.
Quorum,
That's
yeah,
all right.
so
We just have to
it's
have
fine, we don't need you, Mike.
Four
Oh,
people.
Well, I'm not likely to have
But you're
any
welcome to
problems
provide your
with any-
input and stuff, and we will
Make sure
take
you
it.
come back from Ireland if we need you.
Well, bring,
Just hope I
bring,
don't fall off the cliffs of Moher into the drink.
bring music.
We're gonna be there on Monday, Monday or Tuesday.
Wow.
So I'll let you know if we fall in. Wait, no, I'll let you know if we don't fall in. If we fall in,
Okay, to Jackie. I
I'll
don't-
collect
All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
What,
Oh,
I'm sorry, do you think that they should wait on the conflict of interest form
to,
until after the bylaws are passed, because it's in the
Too-
bylaws? Yeah,
Too late.
I would wait too, so let's hold off on that.
I already signed it, everything.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You're smart.
Right?
all right,
Yeah.
All right, motion to adjourn.
If you don't
I'll second.
I typed a little statement in there
I'll-
about my business. so.
We have to have the microphones, otherwise nobody can hear us.
oh, yeah, but I mean, it's a very.
We have to vote. Who,
Oh,
are all in favor?
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?